to march over and not to charge. One of the soldiers that survived the advance said that the machine gun fire was so heavy that the soldiers would automatically tuck their chins into their coats like they were walking through a snowstorm in a Newfoundland outport. Only it wasn't snow or hail, it was machine gun fire.
The Newfoundland Regiment suffers 90% casualties. Every officer is killed or wounded. One British officer watching the attack calls it a splendid example of disciplined valor. It failed, he said, because dead men can advance no further. 710 Newfoundlanders join a casualty list of over 57,000 from that black morning. It is one of the greatest disasters in the history of the British Army. At the Chateau Beaurepaire, the British general commanding is Douglas Haig. Haig never visits battlefields, saying the sight of casualties might sap morale, his own. He declares the Battle of the Somme a victory. After it's over, he is promoted to Field Marshal, commanding all the armies of the Empire, including Canada's. At the outset of the war, Newfoundland was like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, a self-governing dominion. Those 22 minutes on this battlefield in France changed Newfoundland and Newfoundlanders for all time.
I mean, you've got St. John's, and that's the big city, but then you've got all along the coast are outports, and from every one, these men went and volunteered. As if 500 went right away. Sort of the core group of men from each one of these communities, and they weren't coming home again. Just imagine, you're a woman, maybe you've got 3 to 5 children in a very small community where you depend on each other to sustain your life. And you lose your husband, you lose your father, you lose your 2 brothers. You know, how do you get by? And that was the beginning of this downward spiral from Newfoundland. Suddenly, we couldn't support ourselves anymore, and eventually Confederation became an issue. You know, what do? Do we stay where we are? People are starving in the outports. Do we keep going this way, or do we join with Canada and have them help us? And I think a lot of that began with World War I, with our losses here at Beaumont Hamel. For all of us here, July 1st is Canada Day, but for so many people back home, it will always be remembered as the day that we lost some of the best people from our island. And for them, I'd like to sing the Ode to Newfoundland. When sun rays crown thy pine-clad hills, and summer spreads her hand, when silvern voices tune thy rills, we love thee, smiling land. We love thee, we love thee, we love thee, smiling land. As loved our fathers, so we loved. Where once they stood, we stand. Their prayers we raise to heaven above. God guard thee, Newfoundland. God guard thee, God guard thee, God guard thee, Newfoundland. The Newfoundland.
Confound this war. It's horrible. I hate it. Heavens, what a peace lover I will be afterwards.
Everybody, this is Bob's. She's going to bring us luck. Come see. Yeah, aren't you? Aren't you?
Life will again be at the beginning if I survive. All opinions, ambitions, decisions hang suspended, awaiting the verdict of chance. In the meantime,
Charlie,
I have moments of gaiety with companions,
I think of strategies.
moments of sadness when I think of home, and black moments when I question myself, my courage, and even the final success of our cause. For a while, I thought too vividly. I pictured the homecoming, the glad celebrations which you promise. Then the wish to live became maddeningly dear. The less I wished to put my head above the parapet, and the more acute the inner throb when a machine gun barked, and I thought of the time to come when I should have to charge into that rain of bullets, and then suddenly cease to be. It is a great mistake for a soldier to have too keen an imagination, or to allow his thoughts to dwell morbidly on his dangers. I now cultivate a sort of daredevil carelessness.
On the main autoroute running from the English Channel to Paris, a sign draws the traveler's eye towards a distant memorial. It's a battlefield in northern France. So great was the Canadian sacrifice here that France deeded this ground to the people of Canada forever. There are more than 11,000 Canadian pine and maple trees planted here. One for every Canadian killed in France, but who has no known grave. The names of that battalion of the lost are also chiseled into the limestone walls of the monument. For the 90th anniversary of the battle, Canada decided to give the monument a $20 million facelift. A supervisor of reconstruction for the Commonwealth War Graves Commission says the memorial has a sacred spirit. Peter Craven.
I believe it does have a soul. It's a hard thing to put into words, but I've always liked working on it. All the sculpted groups show all the human values: compassion, hope, faith, charity, peace. And when I talk to Canadians, I'm usually surprised by the amount of feeling they have for Vimy. It matters a lot.
Vimy Ridge. Some say a country was forged here. Next on the Great War, Canada's demand that she finally fight together as a national army is granted. The cost is chiseled in stone and written in blood. The grief and glory of the Great War, moments of heroism leading to a lifetime of loss. After Vimy, the agony of Passchendaele, and the final chapter in Papineau's love story.
Join CBC for the Return to Vimy weekend and in-depth live coverage of the dedication of the restored Vimy Memorial from France, followed by the ceremonies in Ottawa. Today at 10 a.m. on CBC.
Hello, Dragon.
Hello, Dragon. This is not a viable business. I'm out. I'm going to offer you 50,000.
100,000.
200,000.
Oh, guys.
We'll fall in love when we count the money together.
on the front lines of the day's top stories.
Gun battle.
New regime. CBC News, baby.
Rely on CBC News, The National.
George Bush,
led by Chief Correspondent Peter Mansbridge. Our team of top journalists delivers tough, daring, insightful reports for the Canadian perspective on events from around the world and right here at home.
Adrian Arsenault.
CBC News, Ottawa.
CBC News, The National. Weeknights at 10 on CBC Television.